Good morning, love leaders. Welcome to the show. It's Dr. Shannon Roberts, your hostess for today, as I'm giving you your next healthy couples tip. As we walk through this year, figuring out what to incorporate week by week to create the health in your relationship back to one another. So today's healthy couples tip, the encouragement that I have to offer you this week is, by the way, healthy couples fight. What do you mean, Dr. Shannon? I'm supposed to fight with my spouse? Well, actually, yes. It's not that couples fight that's problematic. It's how they fight that becomes problematic. And there's lots of research out there. Dr. John Gottman actually has come up with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that become problematic if seen in the way that you fight. Obviously, those are defensiveness, criticism, stonewalling, and contempt. If those are part of the way that you fight, then that is the biggest predictor of relationship intimacy erosion. It is the biggest predictor of eventual relationship dissatisfaction and divorce. But on the flip side, having a healthy protest system in your relationship, good morning. Having a healthy protest system in your relationship is absolutely healthy and necessary. In fact, when I get couples in my office and we kind of do some family of origin stuff, and they'll say, well, my spouse and I have fights, and my parents didn't fight. And I'm like, either they really didn't fight, and that means maybe they didn't have a work through, or somebody was swallowing hard a lot, or they did have an absolutely healthy way of doing that, and they just did it behind closed doors. It was really kind of hard to determine sometimes, because if they did have a healthy way of navigating conflict and managing problem solving, and they had a healthy way of both people in the relationship being able to show up with likes and dislikes alike, and they had a way of hearing one another's side and coming up with us decisions together, then gosh, I would have really hoped that was something that they could role model or demonstrate. But if they didn't, I get it. Having no fights is problematic too. Avoid it kind of attachment interaction where both shut down and or move away, or don't navigate conflict moments well with conversations is not a healthy way of fighting either. In fact, it is problematic, stonewalling. So healthy couples that actually have a way of protesting, there are some distinct components to the way that they fight that is actually enhancing the intimacy, because they are revealing parts of themselves of what they like, but also what they dislike. And so that's still revealing who they are. And then their spouse has the opportunity of seeing that as getting to know, understanding. And so they respond with it matters to them. So protesting what we don't like in the relationship, and the other spouse being able to hear it, receive it, and see it as an opportunity of connection, allows there to be healthy work-throughs, allows there to be healing conversations, allows there to be reconnection points, and a deeper level of knowing and understanding and creating the safety and security in the relationship, because it does matter to each other how the other person is feeling in the relationship. So protests can be really intimacy deepening. So for example, I mean, if let's say a spouse stops at the floor, so I mean grocery store, and he picks up white roses and he brings them home, and of course his spouse is like, oh honey, thank you so much for thinking of me. You really carved in that time and attention while you were away. I so appreciate it. They're beautiful. However, white roses kind of remind me of my grandmother's funeral. I'm hoping that that spouse says duly noted and is able to have that matter to them, so that the next time they carry the thought of them with them and he stops at the grocery store again and he has a choice between white or red roses, he picks up the red roses. Because she was having the opportunity of saying, yeah, no, I don't necessarily like white roses in it. And so he had the opportunity to understand and receive what she did not like. So when we see protests in the relationship as opportunities of knowing and understanding that it is something that has an opportunity of reconnecting, that the spouse that's protesting something is saying, I'm not sure of you. This doesn't feel good. This doesn't seem right to me. And so I'm not sure. And so if the other spouse is able to respond in those moments to, I want you to be more sure of me. I want to hear and understand why this is feeling the way that you do. And those protest systems become healthy ways of navigating as the us and being able to hear both sides. We're going to be talking more about how healthy couples fight by next week, hearing that each have the ability to hold room and space for the other to show up, knowing they're getting an opportunity to show up with their side of the crime scene as well. We're going to be talking about that next week. But your tip for the day is learning how to fight well, learning and accepting that your relationship does need a protest system when things hurt, when things seem problematic, and when things don't necessarily have a lineup of agreement. Actually, having those protest systems are necessary and healthy. They create safety and security and assurance in the relationship. So healthy couples fight. All right, guys, that's Dr. Shanon, and I will see you next week.